This is the Franchise Basketball Insider, presented by Massengale Eye Care, Oklahoma City's leading eye care provider since 1989. Call 631-2020.
Greetings, Thunder fans. The Oklahoma City Thunder one game away from the Western Conference Finals, and they'd like to capture that tomorrow night at home against the San Antonio Spurs. Today at Thunder practice, we get to speak with Kevin Durant, Billy Donovan, and more.
Played with Russell for so long, but the entertainment value for people watching games, I'm wondering if it's the same for you guys. I mean, one moment, you could do something spectacular. One, you could be thinking, man, Russ, what was that? I mean, just the roller coaster of it all. How is it out there for you?
I mean, we're basketball players, so we look at the other things that goes into a basketball game. Obviously, people on the outside look at athleticism and him playing with emotions and playing with his heart on the sleeve and just being around him every single day. We don't just see him when the lights turn on at 7. We see him throughout the whole day. So nothing really surprises us at this point. But we just look at the small things he do. Just running there, grabbing rebounds, getting his hands on balls and getting steals. Small stuff like that. And then the barking at the crowd and beating his chest and screaming, and that's the stuff we really don't notice because that's just who he is. We just know his personality. So it's cool for the fans to really see what type of person he is, how passionate he is about the game, and really starting to respect it now. But that's something we've known for a long time.
Kevin, what do you think it will take for you guys as a team to close this team out?
Close our games are the hardest. We know they're going to try to force this game 7, and we just gotta we can't rely too much on our crowd. We can't be relaxed knowing that we're at home, but they beat us at home in Game 3, so we got to be play as hard as we can, man. I think we started the game off last game with the intensity that it takes to win the game, and third quarter they got loose a little bit, but we was able to reel them back in and play and refocus and get some more energy. Our bench did a great job. So we need everybody from the first to the 13th man to come out and play with that passion, that energy from the start to finish.
Kevin, having talked about that, you're 4-0 in your career when your team has had a 3-2 advantage. Treat Game 6 like it's a Game 7, like you need to do it now.
Yeah, especially when you was a team that started off on the road. You don't want to go back to we don't want to go back to San Antonio and have to fight for a Game 7. So. It's just that sense of urgency we have to have from the tip-off, from shoot-around all the way up until the end of the game. That level of focus, you have to stay up on that level for, 8 or 9 hours. You got to be ready for a game. So, we're looking forward to it. It's a fun part of the season. We know how tough these games are, so we got to be locked in. We got to enjoy the moment as well. We can't put too much pressure on ourselves. We got to go out there and stick to what we've been doing, stick to our game plan, and try to do it even better. We got a lot of areas we got to improve in on the defensive end and offensively. So, we lock in on that, and we'll be fine.
Kevin, you spent some time last night thanking fans on Twitter. Some of your teammates did for the reception that you got when you got home. Did you speak to that today? What you saw, what your feelings were?
I can't speak on other organizations and what they do with their fan bases. I'm sure great, but and it's something I never even really thought about when you want to be an NBA player. Is, how dedicated the fans are, how much you mean to the city. When you're in college, college been there for 30, 40 years, 50 years, something. But here, we're a new franchise, and it's they embraced us from the beginning. It's just to see that, and I think I seen on Twitter, win or lose, they were going to be there. So that just shows how dedicated and how passionate they are about basketball and about us as players and as men. And it's just grateful to have people that care about you so much.
You're obviously dealing with a coaching staff that has a lot of first-time NBA coaches.
Yeah.
I hate to say, are you surprised by just how they've seemed to adjust to the playoffs? But are you at all?
No, not at all. Just because we obviously have some like MB and Mo Cheeks and stuff like that who's already been there, done that, and a lot of our players as well. So we all it ain't so much like you stick to your job, we'll do our job. It's like we're all trying to help each other out with scouting and all that. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. It's just good that they're so open-minded and they're not got an ego about them and think that they're right. They're just really willing to learn and get better, and just speaks for itself really about scouting.
How important is it to handle business tomorrow and not have to go back to San Antonio?
No, it's extremely important. We know that they're going to come out, come out with great energy, focus, and we just got to do the same, man.
Well, one of my beliefs, coaching staff-wise, is I think every coach is always preaching to their team that they want chemistry, they want cohesiveness, they want unselfishness, they want sacrifice. And I really believe that you can't expect your team to do that unless your coaching staff models it first. So we spend a lot more time with each other off the court than we do on the court. And I think as much as you want your team to bond, you want your coaches to be able to bond too, because we can't, in my opinion, come out here every single day and talk about working together and helping each other where we're not even doing it. And I think players see those things. So, you know, it's been a great group for me. It's been new because a lot of these guys are new. Obviously, Billy Schmidt and Anthony Grant I've known for quite some time, but the other guys, they've done an amazing job. They've worked hard. But you know what? I would say this. Every time that I've had the opportunity to coach in a game this year, all these teams are very, very well prepared, and San Antonio is very well prepared as well.
Billy, how much more comfortable are you in this series compared to the first series? Not so much in terms of X's and O's, but the rhythm of the series, the pace of it, pulling strings, when to pull them, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff, you know, you know, sometimes it happens just in the heat of the moment, the heat of the game, where you're trying to make some decisions to try to help your team to do different things. You know, we got beat so handily in game one, and we tried to do some different things to see how it looked. Some of it was okay, some of it wasn't very good. I think you're always from game to game trying to figure out ways to get better, and that's really been our goal even during the regular season. You should play a game, whether it's a back-to-back or a day in between. What do we do well? What didn't we do well? How do we improve? How do we grow? How do we get better? How do we stay in this process of constantly trying to evolve and develop and get better? And the one thing that's been encouraging for me as a coach to watch and see is I think during these series our team has gotten better. We've grown and we've gotten better.
Do you feel like you've gotten better as a coach?
I hope so. You know, I've always felt, you know, as a person, you know, even being in college as long as I think my goal has always been to try to improve and be better than the next day than the last day. And, you know, sometimes, you know, your greatest teachers are your mistakes, you know, where you do make some mistakes, you look back on things or, you know, maybe you should have done this, maybe you should have done that. I think you always, as a coach, you know, beat yourself up or look at different things, but you're always trying to evolve, grow, and get better. And that process is always a process where there's going to be ups and downs. You know, it's never, I think growth is never just like this straight line like this. A lot of times it's up, it's down, it's up, you know, and you got to be willing to go through that. And sometimes you've got to learn through success, you got to learn through failure. So to me, I hope I'm getting better. You know, I work to try to get better and improve each day.
It was said the other day that Aldridge is just missing shots, but is there more to it than that with what you guys are doing against him?
Well, I think we're doing a really good job on defensively. You know, we're definitely really physical on them. If you compare to the first, you know, 2 games, we're definitely more physical on them. And I think, you know, Steven, Serge, and all the other bigs doing a really good job on them, and they just proving their heart, and they're just going out there and just giving everything they have.
Just the 3 block shots you had. Talk about the timing on those, and is that film study? Is that knowing this opponent? Where'd that come from?
You know what? I didn't even know I had 3 block shots. After the game, I look at the, you know, the stat sheet. It says I got like 3 block shots. I was pretty shocked because I'm not like trying to go, you know, after the ball like Serge. You know what I mean? Serge is doing an amazing job, you know, blocking all the shots. But I'm just, you know, trying to, you know, just verticality, just try to stop the ball. But they said I got like 3 block shots. I was pretty shocked.
All right, that'll do it for this report. Don't forget our pregame coverage starts at Flint Restaurant inside the Colcourt Hotel Thursday night at 6:30. It's Countdown to Tip-Off presented by TotallyTickets.com and by Homeland. We hope you'll join us. Thanks for watching this edition of the Franchise Basketball Insider. I'm David Garrett for Oklahoma's New Sound for Sports, 107.7 The Franchise in Oklahoma City and 107.9 in Tulsa.